Terror reigns in the Midwest. 15 years of mysterious disappearances have left the name Charles Reiner steeped in fear. For a long time, his actions seemed supernatural until a witness shed light on the dark happenings. Scene 1. The night in the Midwest was cold and damp. Narrow streets dissolved into a foggy haze that seeped into every corner of the town. In the dim light of a solitary street lamp flickering like a candle in the wind, it seemed that someone was pulling invisible strings, luring invisible victims. Here, on this grim street, the rustling leaves whispered like the voices of long-forgotten souls. The town itself seemed to sigh from time and pain, as if trying to warn anyone daring to step outside in this cursed place. In the distance, amidst the night's silence, came the creak of a gate, as though someone, or something, was cautiously moving through the darkness. The sound sent shivers down spines, bringing to mind tales of Charles Reiner, a man who managed to instill fear elusive and without a trace. Scene 2. Inside the old police station, bathed in flickering fluorescent light, tension filled the air. Officers seemed absorbed in their thoughts, thumbing through old case files. The smell of old paper and ink mingled with the stale aroma of cold coffee, adding to the atmosphere of mystery and horror. One name stood out on every page: Charles Reiner. Over 15 years, he had turned this small town into a haven of fear. Memories of past investigations stirred terrifying images of disappearances in detectives' minds, as if someone had erased people's existence. Every sound in this building echoed, as if the place itself concealed its past. Succumbing to the pressure, officers tried to unravel what made Reiner so elusive, but every lead ended in a dead end. Scene 3. On an old brown notice board in the far corner of the room rested a faded photograph. It showed a group of people gathered in a moonlit forest clearing. Faces were barely discernible, and the shadows of the trees created an illusion of movement. This image became a symbol of fear, for it was taken on the very night another person vanished. Rumor had it that this cult was more than just a gathering of fanatics. They were connected to something more sinister than mere superstition. Every day, more strange symbols were found carved into the trees around the town. Each new cross and swirl awakened ancient fears in people. The photograph looked like a manifested nightmare, breathing life into rumors of supernatural forces serving Reiner. Scene 4. In the attic of an old house where centuries of dust and cobwebs hid forgotten relics, a grim silence reigned. Light beams pierced through a small window, casting bizarre shadows, as if shadows of the past were trying to break into the present. Here, among old trunks and yellowed newspapers, one could feel transported to another time. The past hung here like a heavy shroud, concealing secrets and fears. Every rustle was louder than a scream. Every movement could unveil what should remain forgotten. In this space, Reiner's obsession was more palpable than ever. It was said that he often spent time in such places, finding inspiration for his dreadful schemes. Scene 5. A foggy morning caught travelers off guard in a dense forest. A narrow path winding through the trees seemed endless. Tall trunks towered like guardians protecting their secrets. The fog descended, embracing the earth as if hiding something important. Every step on the wet ground echoed, amplifying the feeling that someone or something was watching every move. In this forest, the monotony of sounds and shadows engulfed, instilling fear of the unknown. They say it was here Reiner found his last victim. Perhaps it was the forest that helped him remain elusive, or was something else, more ancient and terrifying, lurking among the branches. Scene 6. Inside a small wooden hut where flickering candles were the only source of light. The walls were adorned with strange symbols and signs. Their lines intersected, creating terrifying patterns. The atmosphere in the room was tense, with scarcely enough air to breathe. Each candle cast bizarre shadows dancing on the walls, as if invisible beings came to life under this roof. It was said gatherings led by Reiner took place here. In this tiny room, where past met present, images of secret rituals emerged, as if time itself stood still, preserving fear and horror. These places became perfect for his deeds, secluded, hidden from view, restraining ancient energy only a few could sense. Scene 7. The abandoned cemetery, long forsaken by people, came alive in the rays of the setting sun. Here, amid wild overgrowth, old tombstones barely stood out through the dense vegetation. A place forgotten by time, where even the wind ceased to bring order. Silence hung like a thick veil, broken only by the occasional crack of breaking branches. It seemed two worlds inhabited this space, the world of the dead and the living, but their boundaries had long blurred. Rumor had it Reiner often came here, contemplating life and death. Perhaps it was here he found inspiration for his dreadful deeds. This cemetery was not just a place of rest. It held a secret no one dared to unravel. Scene 8. In the dusty classroom of an old school where time seemed to have stopped many years ago, chaos reigned. Overturned desks and broken windows created an atmosphere of abandonment. Yellowed pages from textbooks and notebooks lay scattered across the floor, reminders of those who once learned here. The rays of the setting sun pierced the room, casting long shadows and giving the deserted place a sinister tint. It was said Reiner found refuge here, contemplating each step. These walls absorbed children's voices, becoming silent witnesses to his schemes. The room seemed filled with spirits of the past, as if the school itself was trying to tell its story of those who never returned. Scene 9. In the twilight of a basement with concrete walls dotted with mysterious objects, an oppressive atmosphere lingered. Here, under the flickering light of a single bulb, shadows played their eerie symphony, revealing strange symbols on the walls. A heavy scent of dampness and mold permeated the air, filling the space with a sense of hopelessness. In this place, from which there was no escape, Reiner could delve into his darkest thoughts. Every object, every detail seemed to have its own significance, its own story known only to him. The basement became a place where the most terrifying fantasies came to life, chilling even the most steadfast to the bone. Scene 10. A glade lost in the forest, bathed in moonlight, greeted everyone with oppressive silence. Here, among ancient trees, stood an improvised altar surrounded by flickering candles. The wind, rushing between trunks, caused strange rustling, as if someone was whispering in the night. The atmosphere was infused with menace, as if the place itself resisted the presence of unwanted guests. It was said Reiner and his followers conducted their rituals here. Strange symbols on the altar, resembling ancient spells, frightened anyone daring to approach. It was a place where reality and mysticism intersected, creating a sinister cocktail of fear and anticipation of the inevitable. Scene 11. A small room, half buried in chaos, was crammed with old, dusty books. On a table covered in a thick layer of gray dust lay an open ancient book, a grimoire, its pages exuding ancient wisdom and secret knowledge. The air was barely breathable, saturated with the scent of old paper and mysteries. In this room, shrouded in darkness, it seemed even the walls absorbed the energy of the past. It was said that here Reiner drew his knowledge and strength, studying ancient texts not meant for human eyes. Every word, every note in the margins of the manuscript seemed like steps on the path to an abyss from which there is no return. Scene 12. A gloomy alley, immersed in darkness and cloaked in thick fog, looked like something out of a nightmare. In the distance, faint streetlights barely pierced through the dense shroud. The fog clung to the cobblestones, creating the illusion that time itself had slowed down. The entire setting seemed alive, turning shadows into ghostly beings watching every step. This alley had witnessed many events, remaining a silent keeper of secrets. It was here one young woman once disappeared, never to be seen again. This corner of the city forever remained linked to Reiner's name, adding an even more sinister shade to his story. Scene 13. From a bird's eye view, the small Midwestern town appeared calm and peaceful. Yet, in the air, a looming storm was felt. Dark storm clouds gathering over the town foretold something ominous. The twilight light enhanced the sense of impending horror, as if nature itself was warning of disaster. The residents, hidden behind their walls, were unaware that the darkness engulfing them would be more than just natural. Rumors of Reiner, his disappearances, and a mysterious cult only fueled imaginations, making everyone freeze in fear of the unknown. The town, shrouded in darkness, felt on the brink between the world of the living and invisible danger. Scene 14. In the dim hall of a library filled with ancient tomes, a spiritual heaviness prevailed. Flickering candles in the corner cast ominous shadows on the walls, animating dark corners and ancient bookshelves. Here, among books that had survived the ages, lay a source of unexplainable knowledge. It was here Reiner came to enrich his understanding of what was hidden from human eyes. The air was saturated with the scent of ancient paper and the secrets it held. In this silence, it seemed the very walls whispered forgotten spells, awakening something long forgotten and dangerous. Anyone crossing the threshold of this library inevitably felt part of something grand and terrifying. This entire story remains shrouded in shadow, reminding us of the fears hidden deep within our souls. If you want to know more about such unexplained phenomena, subscribe to our channel. Many chilling mysteries await.